Oh, hello guys, it's Raw Gamer 515.
Turbo 24.
And the regular Steamboat, second part of the museum. Sorry we couldn't do it from the beginning. The teachers were going to catch us, so we're doing it secretly.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you some merch.
It's top secret.
We're going to show you some merch. Camera guy. I'm going to start having my YouTube channel.
It's going
to be called Hufflepuffs. It's going to be called Hufflepuff YouTubers. That's his channel. So it's going to be our backup video player.
You're gonna make another YouTube account?
Yeah, it's his. Now, I'm going to show you some.
Guys, all this was about 3 million beats.
No, not all of this.
Well, most of it.
Most of it.
It's a lot.
Oh god, they're leaving. Let me just show you some perfume.
Jeez, this one's creepy.
These are. All right, come on up here. Take between these things, between this wooden pillar and that one. We're on the same idea of there's a lot of things that look really familiar. All of these dishes. Take a look at this set right here. This tea set. Now, do you guys see any handles on those teacups? No. Right here? Nope, that was just kind of one of the popular styles back then. It was kind of unique. You'd have your teacups without the handles. Each one of those is hand painted. And if you were one of those people that painted those designs on there, you'd kind of put your initials, you'd sign your work. You'd sign that underneath. And so some of those all have different markings because they were done by different painters, and you would get paid by the number of those that you had done each day or each pay period. So it's kind of just a unique piece. A lot of these were going to be sold at stores. So remember, a lot of these weren't owned by people. Nobody's eaten a meal off of these dishes. Nobody's had a drink out of those cups. It's kind of a unique thing. Over here, you guys will see these little things that are called salt dips. Now, they didn't have salt shakers at the time. What they would do is they had a little salt dip. There'd be salt in there. And so if you guys heard somebody just say, oh, I just need a pinch of salt. That's kind of where that comes from. You just pinch, take some salt, and do that. Just a little different than what we have today. What are some things in here that you see that are familiar?
Spoons.
Okay, some of that silverware. These spoons right here are brass. They look golden, but they're brass. What's one other thing that you see that looks familiar? Yes. I want to, if I go to IHOP and I get some pancakes, it's kind of the syrup comes in those types of jugs. What I want you to do now is turn around. Let's take a look at this metalsmith, cobbler. We'll look at those areas back here. These are some jobs that people had, and the Arabia was bringing supplies to go out to the frontier at that time to help people with these jobs. I'm just going to speak through right here. So right here, we have some metal, and these are things that you'll be able to touch as we move on. But metalsmiths would heat up the metal, and then they had a big block of metal called an anvil. Have you guys seen where they heat up the metal so it's red hot, and they're hammering it and giving it shape? That's what they would do. Now take a look, if you can see right here, take a look at what they tied these metal pieces up with.
Another metal.
Another metal piece. Can you imagine being the one to have to get that off? It's hard enough with like some of those twist ties on bread. They get all tangled and twisted. This was done by metal. They were not playing around. So what I want you to do, if you want, you can feel some of this metal, and we're going to head down to the next one.
This looks like
Live stream?
Yeah. On YouTube?
Oh, no, you can't. You just started. Because you have to wait 24 hours.
It's weird.
Yeah. I took off my hotspot.
They had a number of these. People could have made shoes, they could have made saddles, all kinds of things from these leather hides. Now, what's really interesting about these hides, you guys remember when I talked about PEG, that PEG solution, polyethylene glycol? Well, these had to be preserved in PEG, but they feel very different. So down here, when you guys feel it here, you'll notice it feels just like leather that you would expect. all the oils in our hands have gone into this piece, and so it just kind of feels pretty normal. But if you reach up at the very back and you feel up here, this is what it feels like preserved in peg, and it's a completely different thing. So I'll give you guys just a few seconds. Let me head out so I can get out of your way, but feel both where it's preserved in peg and where we've just kind of worn it in.
Wow.
When you've had a chance, come meet me down right here.
I don't think I'd want to.
I'm recording right now.
Oh, thank God, not at least
We
you're
also
recording.
have some sawmill pieces. Now these look like big saws that maybe two people would have had to use. But this was actually put into a sawmill, and so that
It feels like rubber.
Oh my God. What is this? And they are constructed, not
Recording from my phone.
Why is it facing forward?
Ooh, writing ink.
Right here in this case, we have what we call some technology on the frontier. Now, do you see any technology like you think of it? Do you see any of the computers, any iPhones, any kind of tech that you're thinking of? No, this is the tech, and what we mean by that is these are brand new things that were kind of changing the way people live. So you guys see that pot that's on top of the barrel right there that they would have cooked in? Now, how many of you guys have cooked at home in a skillet and maybe it's got that Teflon coating so that things don't stick in it? Yeah, so you used to think that's a pretty new technology, but actually they had coated that pot in an enamel so that it didn't stick. So even back then, 162 years ago, they were coating things so that there wasn't any food sticking to the pots and pans. We've got some bed springs here. That was a pretty new revolution. Now, do those look very comfortable?
No.
No, not quite. So again, they were brand new, but they were better than what they had had. Yes.
Is that sharp?
You know, it's probably going to be a little bit like those. If it was made in to go in a sawmill, it would have a lot of power behind it, so they didn't have to be like razor sharp. They had all of that power. Right here, now this is pretty cool. We've got this printer's type. So when you were going to make a newspaper or something that you were going to put out for people to read, you'd take each little letter and spell it out, and then you put ink on it, and then you tamp it down on a piece of paper. So if you guys look at this, these are teeny tiny little pieces in there. This is the one thing in the museum that they did not clean all the way through. Can't take all of that out and put all those little pieces back in exactly where they were. So it's just been cleaned at the top so you can see it. But take a look at how small those pieces are and try to imagine, kind of like those little beads, cleaning those. Oops, sorry. When you guys have seen those, remember we were headed, all of those goods were headed to a general store. So we're going to head into a general store right now. You guys want to take a look at some of those things, but come on in, just fill in. There's plenty of room for us here at the general store.
Is that food? Where? Where's pumpkin seeds?
Pepper, corn. Are these earrings?
Those traditions just kind of look like something we'd see in the store.
Tell you.
Over here is where we have the pickles that Jerry ate. Here's all of the food. Check this out. There's those pickles. There's pie fruit. All kinds of things. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Would you have been brave enough to eat all that food?
Man. I would be brave.
Stump bitters. I want to eat that. I like to throw up.
What is that? Wait.
On stomach
Oh, those are the oysters.
You guys see here, we have a picture of sardines.
Hey, boys and girls, boys and girls.
Now, sardines were found on the boat, but who can guess why we just have a picture of them and not the actual sardines? They were stinky, yeah. Yep. So we just have the picture.
I think it's better. No, I'll not eat it.
You got put. You said you want to record. So that's how you record. You have to show your face. Oh my god.
That back section of the boat, right behind it. All right. All right, if I can have everybody come up this way. Somebody just asked a question about these bed keys. Now, is that something that you guys have today? Oh, I know exactly where my bed key is. Well, our mattresses today are on wooden slabs. That's what holds them up. Back then, though, it used to be ropes that held them up. So you can imagine as you slept on that mattress and on those ropes, the ropes would kind of get loose after a while, and the bed key then would tighten it up. So some people think that's where the phrase sleep tight comes from. We've heard a couple of other different stories of where it might be, but some people think that might be where we have that phrase from. Let's head down this way. As we head this way, take a look at these tools. You guys will see more things that look really familiar. Things that look
Pickaxes.
similar to how they look today.
Minecraft, yeah.
Over here we've got some close and buttons and keys.
Where? Oh, those. But those are so small and they're broad. Wrenches.
Where are the diamond pickaxes?
No one knows. And even if we had diamond pickaxes, they're not gonna break.
Fortnite skins? Fortnite.
Where's
Come on in here. This is our textiles area. So this is where we have all the cloth, the clothing, the hats, the shoes. Take a look. Here are some of those 30,000 buttons that we have. Some of my favorite objects. We have a pair of pants right here that we can tell was owned by somebody that they wore a lot. There are holes in the knees. They had turned them inside out so they could wear them both ways. They really used the things that they had. Coming on down this way.
I guess they didn't want to waste the quality of the pants.
Right, yeah.
Straight shoes are over there.
Actually, all of these are. Most of them. Now, the men's boots are not, but everything else is straight last. These fancy women's shoes do have a left and a right. And some of these clothes, it's not too bad. They look amazing. You see the box of shoes, that's how they were all packed in. Okay. Come around here and take a look. We have rubber shoes, rubber buttons. All of this was made by Goodyear. Now, where do you guys know Goodyear rubber from? What does Goodyear make nowadays?
Tires.
Tires. Were they making tires back then for your cars? No. So they had just come across rubber and they were trying out some different things. So there are some rubber shoes, some rubber buttons and combs, those types of things. Guys, what I'm going to do now is give you just a minute or two to take a look through this section. I'm going to be here with the perfume. Come take a smell of that perfume, and once you do, have a seat up on these blocks here, and we're going to have somebody from our lab tell you a little bit about our preservation.
Hey, Joshua. I knew it. Well, guys, I guess this is it for part 1. Goodbye. Face. Your face. Okay, fine.